Good evening, friend. Study with Apala Engineering and General Geology book Parvin Singh. Chapter 3, Geological Work of Atmosphere, Rock Weathering. Journal. Atmosphere, which is a gaseous envelope surrounding the planet Earth, is in constant contact with the rock of the crust wherever these are exposed on the surface. This contact is of dynamic interactive nature in which the original structure, events, composition of the rocks are changed to a great extent. The ruling trend in all such action is established a physical and chemical equilibrium between the rocks and the atmosphere. So the atmospheric process is in themselves change from season to season and year after year. So the rocks of the surface are therefore always undergoing a slow imperceptible change that ultimately result in their complete alterations and even destructions from a given place. Weatherings, as already defined, is a natural process of instew mechanical disintegrations and or chemical decomposition of the rocks of the crust of the earth by certain physical and chemical agencies of the atmosphere. The most important aspect of this process is that the weatherings product remains lying over and above or near the parent rocks unless it is removed from theirs by some other agencies of the nature. So there are several methods by which rock undergo weatherings. These may be classified and discussed under two main classes: mechanical, physical, and weathering, and chemical weathering. A mechanical means of physical weathering. It is a natural process of instant disintegration of rock into smaller fragment and particles through essentially is a physical process without a change in their composition. A single rocks block on a hill slope or a plain, for instance, may be disintegrated gradually into numerous small irregular fragments through frost sections that in turns may break up naturally into fragment and particles of still smaller dimensions. These loose fragments or particles may rest temporarily on the surface if it is a plane. On slopes, however, the end product fragment and particles may roll down under the influence of gravity and get accumulated at the base as a heap of unsorted debris. All these fragments and particles, however, have the same chemical composition as the parent rock. In figures, explain of a mechanical means physical weathering diagrammatic is base rock. A means parent rock. This here describes this how to start weathering. Top weathered product, parent rock. Roll downs, weathered product from this roll down weather product. Okay, so make a diagrams with labeling. Mechanical weathering is one of the very common geological process of slow natural rocks disintegrations in all parts of the world, and temperatures variations and organic activities are two important factors that brings about this change under specific conditions. So temperature variations are held responsible for extensive mechanical weathering of rock exposed on the surface. These manifest in two different ways: frost action and in cold humid region, and the thermal effect insolations in hot arid region. And outlines of these process is as follows. Frost action, as is known, so water or freezing undergoes an increase in its volume by about 10%. 10%. This expansion is accompanied by exertions of pressure at the rate of 140 kilogram per centimeter cubes to thousands IBS slash in square. This expansion is accompanied by exertions of a pressure at the rate of on the walls of the vessels contains the freezing water in area of intensive cold and humid climate. Temperatures often fall below the freezing point of water repeatedly during winter. The month in such areas of freezing of water in pots and pools, water pipes and taps, and in cavities and cracks in concentrated roads, causing their burstings and disintegrations in many cases in a matter is a matter of common observations. This process of freezing of water when happenings within the process pores, cracks, fractures and cavities of rocks affect them considerably. The original openings are widened at the first stage of attack and thereby accommodate more and more water to comes and freeze in subsequent cycles. A freezing cycle is often followed by a thawing cycles, that means meltings of ice formed within the cavities. Eventually the repetitions of the freezing and thawing cycles over many years leads to gradual disintegrations of the rocks because of internal stresses exerted in the process. The frost forms fragments are angular, subangulars, and irregulars in outlines and remain spread over the parent rocks, having a flat surface or flat slopes. If the original surface forms a significant slope, as is commonly the case in the highly and mountainous region, these frost fragments get heaved up from the surfaces and cavities and then roll down the slopes under the influence of gravity. Finally, the fragments accumulate at the base as a heap, commonly called as scrape deposits. In some cases, especially when the slopes are established and the pull of gravity is weaker, the fragment remains unevenly strewn over the surface of the slope. Such slopes are covered by frost formed scree are often referred as to as talus slope. In figure 3.2 A B, this in figure A and B, scree, this indicate scree, and talus slope U, this scree accumulations, talus slopes. The exudations is a process similar to frost actions, but in this case disintegrations take place due to formation of crystals of sodium chlorides it's within the cavities of rocks, thereby causing their disintegrations. This process is seen in good measures in porous rock near seashore. Thank you. Like, support and subscribe this channel. Thank you.